All right, well, it's summertime in the Chesapeake Bay, and that means we've been doing a lot of bottom fishing, catching a lot of perch and spot. And I keep sending them home with kids, and they keep asking, what do I do with this? So I thought I'd do a short video. All you really need is, well, I just use my old school fishing knife, which has a scaler built in. Or you can use a really old school scaler. Take the scales off the perch. Sometimes we get perch that are big enough, 11, 12, 13, even 14 inches, that you can fillet them like a rockfish. Still a small fillet, but they're very good, delicious meat that way. But I always get the question, what do you do when you have smaller fish, and how do you make them taste delicious and eat them? And so I'm gonna do that right now. I brought some fish home today that are not your, what we call slab perch. These are, you know, about 9 inches. And so it would not be appropriate to fillet these. So what we're gonna do is scale them and dispatch them, cutting off the head and gutting it and get it ready for pan frying. So I like to spread the tail out a little bit so I can get enough of a hold, and the scales come right off. Pretty easy, especially if you get them nice and cold. Now, a lot of times when I have friends that we take out on our boat, I will do this for them and send them home with this already done. And that keeps you from having to dispose of all the scales or having them go around your house. So I put a little trash bag out to catch any of the scales that go flying. Okay, so we get the scales going on. Pretty easy. You can see that that fish is scaled pretty well, both sides. And then we're going to make a diagonal cut here. There's a lot of meat up at the head. You can see that. You have to use a pretty firm and small knife because you have to cut through the backbone there. Okay, that's the head. I like to take a sharper knife and open her up. Then you can see pretty easily that the innards separate away from the spines. So I just pull that through. Cut that stuff off. Okay. I put it in an ice bath, just a little bit of ice water to get the rest of the scales off. And there you have a perch, nice and fresh and clean, no scales, ready for pan frying. Well, welcome to my kitchen. We're going to fry up the perch now. We cleaned them. One thing that was helpful is using one of these guys if you're not used to using your knife. I don't always have one of these on the boat, but it does speed things up considerably. I know they make a more modern one. This one's from like 1956. But the next step is just to dry off your perch with a paper towel. So I'll just put them all onto a paper towel. So we got 8 of them here. Take some and put them on the top. Of course, I put them in that ice water. Keep them nice and cold, and make sure you get all the rest of the scales off of there. So if you want to eat the skin, you can. Okay. And now comes the complicated part. Grab a spoon, and I'm going to put in 3 parts flour. 1, 2, 3, and 1 part Old Bay. before I do that, I'm just going to take a little bit of salt on my fish, a little pepper. Turn them over in there. Okay. Drop them right into the bag. Lock it up, give them a little shake. Give us a little flour coating on the outside that we get to put them right into the oil. There you have it, your breaded and seasoned Old Bay perch, ready to rock. Okay, what we have here is a nice hot cast iron skillet with some canola oil. And before it starts to smoke, you don't want it to smoke, it's not smoking here, but put your hand over the top of the oil to see that it's nice and hot. It shouldn't be burning, but it should be hot. It's starting to move a little bit. I'm going to test just by putting a little piece of the tail in, and it should start to bubble. Oh, there it goes, perfect. All right, I'm going to lay this guy in there. There's one. There's two. 3, oh, 4, 5. There we go. We're going to let them sit on the side and sizzle like this. After a few minutes, we're going to turn them. What I also like to do to help them cook is just to put something on top like that. Delicious Chesapeake white perch, one of the best fish you can eat. And this is the part where most of my kids say, then I didn't know what to do. So I just want to show you quickly how easy this is. We'll start with one of the bigger ones. Okay. You don't have to eat the skin, but you could eat the skin. It's good to go. But very simply, what I do is I just use two spoons, and I just come right here along the rib cage. Get one spoon up underneath that, all the way to the end. And as long as you've cooked the meat all the way through, it will come right off. See that? At the bone. See how that works? Now, this is the rib section. Okay, so you may get a bone here if you pull it this way. But if you pull it in the direction of the ribs, they should pop right out. See how easy that is? That is side number 1, ready to eat. Okay, I would, if you're not sure about the rib area, I would just be careful about eating in there because those bones are a little lighter, as you can see them right here. Then the magic happens. You reach back here behind the tail, and you pull the tail forward, and out comes the entire rack. Okay, the rack goes over here. This is the rib section, so I pull the rib section out, and it comes over here. You can see that this rib cage stuck. It's stuck in here. Okay, so I also just treat the rib cage a little separately, pull that right out. Okay, this is all wonderful meat. Okay, once I get to that spot, I have my ribs over here. I have one full fillet. This fillet in the back quarter is going to stay, and they have a couple little spines in here. So you just pull these spines right out. See how easy they come? Right there off the top. If you want the skin on, you can flip it down. If you want the skin off, you just pull it right off as well. Now, we took all the scales off, so that's fine. This right here is what on game fish people try not to eat this little dark line. So if you want to take the little dark line out, that's fine. It's really so small that it's not going to hurt you on a white perch. I've never heard of anyone cutting that out, for example, unless it's a really big fish. But that is the dark line. So let's see. Got the crispy skin. Bon appetit. That's really good. That's delicious. I like to put a little ketchup on it, a little bit of Old Bay. Try some without. Or lemon juice. Very good.